located and defused.
Oh my god, Ian.
Don't try to stop me now.
Hey guys, this is Ebyte. Welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be talking about my in-game settings for Rainbow Six Siege. I've seen so many comments on my recent videos asking for my in-game settings, my sensitivity and my elite controller settings. I will talk about my elite controller settings, however they will not be in this video. I plan to do a separate video for that just so that I don't overcomplicate anything, but today I will talk about my in-game settings and my sensitivity. So starting off with my gameplay settings, I have my squad privacy set to invite only. This just means that players require an invite to join the squad and they can't just join off my name. Matchmaking preferences, it doesn't really matter anymore due to bomb being the only ranked game mode. However, I would recommend if you are looking to improve your game knowledge or game sense, I would turn it to bomb only. That's what I've currently got. Basically means that if you do end up playing any casual games, you're not playing hostage or secure, you're playing bomb, and obviously you're going to learn a lot more about where people position themselves and just general kind of knowledge about the game mode. Interface preferences, this is pretty much just personal preference. I've turned off player outlines and gamer tags to avoid any distractions. I find it a lot easier, however I do tend to flick to teammates occasionally, just because obviously there's nothing distinguishing them from an enemy apart from the icon, their operator icon above them. Ping, this pretty much just allows you to set or mark a specific position with yellow marker. This can be quicker or easier than trying to call out an exact position or player if you don't know all the callouts, especially for less experienced players. For the more experienced or competitive players, I definitely recommend just keeping it on. You can always use it, however you are more likely to know the various callouts. Display game info, so this shows your network ping, FPS, etc. in the corner of your screen. I did have this on for a while, but I removed it because it was just kind of like a distraction. Cycle inside camera group, so this is quite interesting. I had it on for a while, but I removed it, or I changed it back to the default, the standard one, just because this setting would actually allow you to cycle through a specific camera type. So you could go through all the Valkyrie cams, and when you got to the third or final one, it would take you back to the first one if you tried to switch, and you'd just be kind of stuck in that camera group. So whether it's Valkyrie cams, Maestro cams, default cams, bulletproof cams, you actually had to push, I think it was left or right on the D-pad to switch to a different camera group. Like I mentioned, I did have this enabled for a while, but I just prefer the original, the default one, so that's what I've gone back to. Audio settings, obviously I talk English, so that's what my settings are set to. Subtitles, they're not necessary. I did have them on for a while, but I removed them again. Master volume, you'd want this to be as loud as possible, or max volume. So this is pretty much just your in-game sounds, so your footsteps, your gunshots, explosions, barricades breaking, etc. Music volume, I have this very low, mainly just because it's not necessary. It doesn't really add anything to the game, primarily just when you're in the menu, so I've turned that down low. Dialogue volume, I have this set to max. It's just your in-game operator phrases, so you know how each operator has their own kind of little phrases or things they shout when they're getting shot at, or their screams and all that. I have this set to max just because it's quite entertaining, some of the phrases. Dynamic range, I have night mode selected mainly because I use a headset and it also reduces the really loud sounds like gunfire or explosions, so it's not as loud, but you're also able to hear like people crouch walking or walking on debris, which I really like. Voice chat volume, I have this set to 100, so pretty much if anyone's in game and they're not in a party or anything, if they talk in game, I can hear what they're saying, whether it's a call out, etc. Moving on to video settings, I have VSync turned off. Basically it's just a lot smoother in Terror Stunt in my opinion, so I prefer it. Brightness I did have set to 65, mainly because before they changed all the lighting on all these maps, there were some really dark corners, so if you had certain operators in a dark uniform, it was very difficult to see, but now you could probably reduce it a little bit. I'm going to keep it at 65 just as personal preference, but the new lighting definitely does help, so brightness doesn't need to be as high. My control settings, so I have loop conversion turned off. It's just something I've never used. Vibration, I find it a little bit more difficult to control recoil, and I've never really used vibration when playing an FPS, so I've just got it turned off. Sensitivity, I normally run a low vertical, high horizontal and low dead zones for my analog sticks if possible. I know people do tend to slightly increase their dead zones if they start getting stick drift. This basically just means that your analog sticks require less of an input. They're more reactive to what you're doing with them. Controller rotation, I have this set to classic currently. I might switch to updated in the future, but I'm happy using classic, and I didn't really notice much of a difference when I did just test it out for a little bit. So I'm happy using classic for now. Aim assist, I would definitely recommend turning this off or disabling it if you're wanting to improve your aim in T-Hunt. You kind of be lying to yourself if you're saying you've got really good aim but you've still got it enabled, because obviously it's going to be helping you to snap to bodies or heads of the terrorists, and then when you go into ranked, obviously that's not going to be happening. So I definitely recommend turning that off if it's not off already, and that will dramatically help you improve your aim. ADS, this depends on the kind of player you are. Do you walk through the map constantly ADSing, or do you only ADS when you see a person? I've got a fairly low ADS, although it depends. My ADS used to be like 75 or something like that, but I did reduce it quite significantly because obviously I've got 100 horizontal. I do know a lot of people normally have a low horizontal and high ADS. That's another way to do it. So you can have high horizontal, low ADS, or low horizontal, high ADS. It's up to you, depends how you play. Gadget deployment, so I have this set to toggle. It basically allows you to stop at any point during the gadget animation because you're holding the button rather than just pushing it. This allows you to bandit trick, etc. So if you don't already have this enabled, I would definitely recommend switching to toggle. Drone deployment, I have this set to advanced. This genuinely does save lives because it means that you're able to throw a drone out and you don't have to go on it straight away. This can be used to bait enemy players or just make sure that you're in a safe enough position and that no one is pushing you. So yeah, I definitely have that set to advanced if it isn't already. So last but not least, controller layout. I have this set to default, no custom button mapping or anything like that. It's just the standard controller settings. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please remember to smash the like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so to keep up to date with all my latest videos. Thanks again for 45,000, almost 45,000 subscribers. That's insane. Thank you so much for all the support you guys have shown on my recent videos. It's greatly appreciated, and I shall see you guys in my next video.
I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable.